Good morning, everyone. My name is June Andronick, and I'm going to tell you a short story. This is a story about Mr. Bug. Mr. Bug is really a bad guy, and unfortunately, we've all met him. When the screen of our computer turns blue, when the entertainment system in our flight is rebooting, Mr. Bug basically sneaks in the software embedded in all kinds of devices. He gets into the code written by Mr. Programmer, who is really awesome, but sometimes makes some typos, or is coding a complex functionality which is hard to get correct. Nowadays, Mr. Bug is really happy. Software is everywhere, million lines of code in the smartphone in your pocket, and even in critical devices like the pacemaker in your chest. So plenty of places to hide and big catastrophes to hope for. What is made today against this evil creature? Well, we have Mr. Test and Mr. Formal, or Mrs., by the way, of course. Mr. Test, as we know, can be quite good in finding bugs by trying out all the scenarios he can think of, but there are just too many, so he will always miss some well-hidden bugs. Mr. Formal, on his side, uses mathematics to reason about all possible behaviors and prove that the code behaves as expected, always. But it takes him ages. Therefore, either he looks for weak properties like specific well-known bugs, or strong properties, but he can do that only for very small source code. What is the solution we propose? We aim for strong security and safety properties for million lines of code. How do we do that? We basically want to prove that some critical devices won't have catastrophic crashes. And how do we do that? We first combine forces. And second, we use formal methods in a clever way. In most critical devices, a large amount of code is not that critical and shouldn't lead, if buggy, to a catastrophe. Therefore, we design the software as a set of components with a limited number of critical components for which we can prove that they are correct. But the really key thing here is that we also prove that they are isolated from the non-critical world, so that a bug in there cannot propagate to the critical world and lead to a catastrophe. We can do this isolation only thanks to our secret weapon, which is a kernel that controls accesses to everything. Of course, the kernel of a system is the most critical part of it. So the first thing we did was to build a small kernel called SCL4, and we managed to fully prove it correct, which was a big breakthrough since people were trying this since the 70s. And we now concentrating on proving this isolation and the critical parts. We could also do some testing to minimize the bugs remaining in the non-critical parts. This way, we will increase dramatically the level of trustworthiness in critical devices, which will have an important impact in what we can do in these areas, such as having a complex user interface in a medical device or secure defense communications, amongst many others. There are many people I would like to thank, mainly Gerwin Klein, which is the formal method leader and the most clever Mr. Formal I've ever met. And we work hand in hand with Kevin Elphinstone, the kernel leader, and Gernot Heiser, the overall group leader, and both awesome programmers. We all work both at NICTA and the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, together with a lot of colleagues and students that we would like to thank as well. Thanks for your attention. If you want to know more, go to our website, ERTOS, or just talk to me. Thank you.